Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by. It's the weekend roundup. I'm Reggie with Big Blast Marketing. We're going to take a look at these markets and see if we can figure out which direction we're going to head in, heading into the next week of trading, week of the 10th through the 14th, 15th or so. Okay, and then we'll take another look in the weekend. Now, of course, we're going to have our midweek tweaks and our Bitcoin follow-ups on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays as well. So look for those. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on those videos when they come out. All right. So without holding you up any longer, we got to go. All right. So looking at the chart, starting off with the S&P 500, we can see on Friday where the S&P closed at about $6,728.80. Up here, we had a nice little pullback to 6,926.10. Okay, so we'll have to see how this plays out with the volume not that strong compared to the sell volume. So we had a lot more sell volume coming in than we had buying volume. So we'll have to see how that works out. But currently, looks like this is a good support area. If this fails, then look out below. We're going to be heading back down here to around 6,359. So keep an eye on that. We did have this bar. That was the bar today the president came in and said something about China. So that bar, in my mind, doesn't really work because that was just fear coming into the market. And as you can see, they bought it right back up. So pay attention to this area here for support. If it fails, then look out below. Next up is going to be Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is starting to push back up. As you can see here, this bar is on the November 10th. All right. Printing just above our 200 SMA, but we still have our 20 coming down to act as resistance and our 8 and 9. So you might get a nice little pinch in here, and you have to see what happens when it works around between these two guys. If we pull into, let's take a look at our Coinbase that's getting rejected as we're heading into Monday trading. All right, but Coinbase is 24/7, so there's no weeks. It's just all trade. All right, so let's get out of there. And so back to Coinbase, overhead resistance at 107,220. Looked like it was starting to break through it, but we'll see once the market opens. We can't really take a look at this as it moves because of the fact that the NASDAQ and all those guys, they're closed on the weekends. And so what we see here printed is what we got and our best guess from there. But it should be running to some resistance here with the 20, and we should get a little bit of a sell-off back down to retest this support area that seems to be holding up at 99,731. So we'll see how that plays out. Of course, if this continues to move sideways, if we get the same distance here, it may move sideways for a couple of weeks before either selling off or going higher. So we'll see if time gets on Bitcoin's side and push it back up, or if it continues to sell in time. So right now you can see here we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bars, 11, 12 bars sideways before we sold off again. All right, so we'll see if we get the same 12 bars or less. Okay, so it could be another week or so before we start to see if it's going to sell or continue higher on Bitcoin. All right, so next up is going to be oil, and oil is trying to find some support here at the 20-day SMA. Trying to go back and retest this area at $61.90. So we'll see what happens with oil, but currently it looks like it's finding some support. So we got our push up through, come back, and it looks like it's bouncing off this springboard to jump higher on oil. So we'll see what happens, but it is currently in a down market, so you can't trust green more than you trust red, so keep an eye on that also. Next up is our Ethereum, and Ethereum looking a lot like Bitcoin, and so we'll see what happens. Printed this doji here on Friday, so we'll see what happens with that. It opens up here, maybe go up a little bit higher, but I really see a lot of resistance up here, so I have a feeling we're going to get a little bit of sell off in Bitcoin and Ethereum, but we'll see how that plays out. But it is having some overhead resistance coming in on that one, so be careful with those. We got gold, and gold put in a nice bar on Friday, so we'll see what happens. Ran into a little bit of trouble here with the 20 SMA, and then of course it had this overhead resistance that it had to break through. So we'll see if it continues to print and go higher. Nice little J-hook pattern coming in too, so we'll see how that works. If that turns into a nice J-hook, we're probably going to run all the way up here, up through J-hook, run and come back, push all the way up through here and go higher. So we'll see. Retest this, come back, retest for support, and continue to run and go. So we'll see how that plays out. Right now I got the 20 SMA acting as some resistance, and we'll see how that plays out. But right here is where the 20 is at its weakest, and if we had came down to here and then went back up, then it would be a little bit stronger. But right here, as you can see in the past, a lot of times it would hit in that area back here and still break through, even though it was looked like it was selling off. Okay, so we'll see how it plays out. But right now, that was a pretty good bar coming in, although we didn't get a lot of volume out of it. So we'll see how that plays out. If we open up higher, then I would jump in and set my stop below this bar. And whatever I risk on that bar, I'll just put it in there and let it sit there. And if it comes back and stops me out, then that's that. If it keeps going, then hey, I made a good play. All right, next up is going to be natural gas. And natural gas is still trying to push higher, running into some resistance at $4.47. And we've got this window open, so be careful, because at some point we're going to have to reconcile these windows. Another one down here too. So chances are nat gas is going to come back down here, close those windows, and then head back higher again. But it's a matter of time when that's going to happen. But if you see it start to sell off and head back this way, then expect it to close this window, and then maybe this window next. All right, next up is going to be the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ closed down here, put in this pin bar right to this support area, and then closed up here at around what's that, 25,201.18 on NASDAQ. So and then it opened up again here on Friday and pushed a little bit higher into this resistance area. So we'll see how it plays out heading into Monday's trading. Currently, it looks like it wants to try to go higher. It's still in the bullish market because we're still above our 200, in between our 20 and our 200. Our 150 is down low, so we'll see if this thing wants to continue higher, if we're going to run into some trouble with our 8 and 9 and fall off and come back down in here somewhere. But currently, it looks like it wants to continue higher on the NASDAQ. Next up is silver, and silver printed a nice big bar like gold right into this resistance area. So we'll see how that plays out with silver. Maybe come back, get some support from the 20, and then try to get through this area. If it does put in a nice push up on Monday up and through here, then we need to look and make sure this acts as support. If it doesn't act as support, then we may continue to sell off and come back and retest this 20 again. But currently it looks like it wants to continue higher, and it's still in a bullish market. Next up is the Dow, and the Dow printed a nice pin bar too. So we'll see how that plays out with the Dow. The Dow's up above the 20 also, so the 20 is going to come in and act as some support most likely and push this up higher. So the Dow, maybe if we can get through this channel that is starting to print in here, We need to get up above that 47,583. We can get up through there and come back and retest, or just blow through it and go back and retest this previous high that turns, it's now resistance. We'll see what happens with that, but right now that pin bar looks like it just wants to take off and run, but we'll see how it works out heading into Monday's trading. But currently I'd say Dow's a green, Dow's a go. All right, next up is going to be corn, and corn's got that overhead resistance of the 200 SMA that it can't seem to get through. So it's going to look like it's going for a retest of it. Got that bar, kind of took out that bar there. It still has this pin bar, this pin that pushed up. It sold off. So we'll see how corn works out against that. But it did come back and find some support in this area, which is not a bad support area, but not the best. But we do have the 20, but it is below the 200. So these two are going to be battling, trying to see who can take this through and go higher, or force it even lower. But that 20 is, that 200 simple moving average is flat right there, so it's going to take a lot for this 20 to get it up through there. So we'll see what happens then. Plus this overhead resistance too, that should be about right in there currently. So let's move that. It's about right there. Oops, a little bit higher. About right there. Let's make it a little thicker, because it's actually acting as some resistance. Alright, so we'll see what happens in this area. Alright, so that's all we got for the weekend roundup. We touched a little bit on Bitcoin. Take a look for the video on Bitcoin. We're going to do a series on Bitcoin, because we know Bitcoin is actually running into some trouble. So let's find out for sure. Take a look at that video, and we're going to dig deeper into Bitcoin. All right. So as always, thanks for stopping by. Make sure you hit the notification bell. All right, so you can catch the next video as it comes out. All right, and don't miss the midweek tweak that happens on Wednesday, and then our follow-up on Bitcoin on Thursday or Friday. Maybe we'll do Friday, because we'll be heading into the weekend, so we'll do that. Bitcoin, maybe Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays we'll do a deeper dive on Bitcoin. Over the weekend we'll have to go to Coinbase for that. Alright, that's it for our weekend roundup. I hope you got some good information. I hope you're prepared for this week of trading coming up. And look for our next video for Bitcoin on Monday, when we take a look at the Bitcoin chart and dig deeper into Bitcoin and how far we think it's going to go. And we'll take a look at some articles that have come out about it, and we'll see what everybody is thinking as far as Bitcoin's direction. And we'll give you our opinion on what direction it's going to be headed. All right, so that's all I got for now. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, watch for that next video on Wednesday with our midweek tweak, when we take a look at these particular stocks that we looked at today. And as always, be careful out there. These markets are crazy.